to another episode of Two Girls, One Shelf. I'm Tabby.
I'm Paula.
And today we are going to be talking about Two Twisted Crowns.
Woo!
Yep, time to keep on going from one dark window because once you start reading that book, you can't put down the second one.
Oh my god, I immediately started this one. As soon as I read the last page, I said, okay, well, on to the next.
New book, new problems. So we left off, we found out that Elsbeth was gone. She was taken over by the nightmare, which we have found out is the Shepherd King, Amory Percival Taxis. And Raven is so heartbroken about Elsbeth. He keeps trying to reach into her mind with Nightmare card. And Shepherd King's like, boo, here I am. It ain't Elsbeth, so get out.
Like, freaking poor Raven. Like, he's just been going through it.
I just picture Taxis opening the door like, And then like, she's not home. Close the door.
We don't have any money. Get out of here.
Stop. No soliciting.
You know what I think about is like, you know those people that walk on the side of the road ask for money?
Oh,
or the people who clean people's windows for money and stuff, like in the car. I feel like Taxis is the driver. And he's just rolling up his window. And Raven's just coming with his bucket of water and his little squeegee. And he's like, hey, I'm here. And Taxis rolling up his window.
I ain't got no money. But Raven ends up using his mirror card and he goes to dig at a stone to where the Shepherd King's, like, where he was buried. And he ends up finding the Shepherd King's sword. But as he's leaving, because he's using the mirror card and apparently he's been using it for a little while, he sees the spirit of a child. And I think she was sitting in a tree, wasn't she?
I think so, yeah.
So she's sitting in a tree outside of the ruins. And come to find out, it's one of the Shepherd King's children, and her name is Tilly. And Tilly talks to Raven. He's just like, yeah, the rest of his children love him, and we've been waiting on him to cross over, but he's just chilling, doing things. And Elsbeth said, but whatever. We'll just wait longer for Dad.
I think has some daddy issues.
Yeah, but the way that the book described it, it sounded more like patient. It was like, it wasn't.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Yeah, it didn't seem like they were mad at him at all. They were just like, hey, we're patiently waiting for him to just finish his task. Because we find out more about their story, their past and stuff with the kids, but he did for a while absorb himself into the Providence guards and just wasn't very present because all he really cared about was gaining power.
Yeah. Which is really, really sad.
I know, yeah.
His poor friend was like, Daddy, love me. He's like, give me a card.
He's like, swerve.
Spirit of the wood, where you at?
Like, hey, are you the maiden or the nightmare or like anything like that? No, swerve.
Yeah,
right. So we flip back over to Raven and Elsbeth's story. The king asks Raven to bring Elsbeth to him. Raven basically grabs the cuffs to put on her to bring her to the king because Nightmare just be acting wild. He just be out here clawing folks' face, throats, all the things.
Yeah, and I pictured her as almost like Taxis portraying her as possessed for real.
Oh, for sure.
Like she's just sitting there in the cell.
I just see her like...
Yeah, literally. Yeah,
like, yes. Like,
just yellow
what
eye.
is it? The ring?
Yeah.
The ring. That's how I just see her. Like, her legs just coming up and her arms.
She's in the cellular.
Yes. Because I think he was trying to act that out more, you know? But basically, poor little baby Raven sees all these bruises all over his woman, and he just gets sad. And he asks Taxis to pull down her sleeve so that when he places the cuffs on her, he doesn't cause any more bruises. And Taxis is like, well, she can't feel them anymore. And I was like, dang. The Nightmare card is such a dick to Raven sometimes. And it just makes me laugh because we get more of his niceness and stuff later on. But him and Raven's relationship is so spicy. It is so just there. I feel like Taxis is a big brother to Raven, and it just thinks Raven's a dumb little brother. Yeah. And it's just annoyed by him, but he loves him at the same time.
Yeah, but he's so protective over Elsbeth at the same time, so it's almost like a father-daughter relationship, too. But man, I was laughing. Poor Raven's like, man, my feelings. And Taxis is like, don't care, she ain't here. Don't care, you suck.
Basically.
Look at my eyes, they ain't hers. Like... He's literally just taunting him.
He's like, Elsbeth ain't here no more.
Nah, nah, nah. Like, just... You don't want to mess with my goodies. Like, not Elsbeth, they mine. He's just being crazy. Tex is just out there being wild.
Oh no, he's being such a butt.
Yeah, I loved it. I laughed. I was like, don't feel sorry for Raven.
I know. But then this book really takes a turn into Elm and Ione's relationship. Which, I love their relationship, I love their characters, but it still made me sad. I just wanted more from Raven and Elsbeth, you know?
Yeah.
Even if there was an epilogue or not a eulogy, like I said before.
Yeah, not a eulogy.
Not
Lord
a
have mercy.
eulogy. It's an epilogue.
A eulogy for Elsbeth, maybe.
Like,
but
rest in peace.
I honestly feel the Ione Elm story could have been a novella, and then the Two Twisted Crowns should have been Raven in pursuit of trying to find Elsbeth.
Yeah,
or
trying to get her back.
Because the book does a good job in portraying all of that,
Yes.
but I feel like she could have elaborated a lot more on a lot of stuff.
I agree. Because it was just, like you said, with Ione and Elm, it could have been a novella, because we could have seen them in scenes, but then the novella could have dug deeper into their thoughts and more into what this book did.
Yeah, it could have literally followed them while Raven is doing his. So, like, just 2 books at the same time, but Elm and Ione could have been a novella because Raven and Elsbeth are the heart of the story. That is something that I did not like about this book, because when my friend who recommended that we read this book, I texted her and I was just like, I hate this book already, even though I really like this book, because what?
Yeah, and it was hard because I really enjoyed Elm and Ione. I loved getting to know them and their relationship and their love and all those other things, but it just made me mad because I just wanted more from Raven and Elsbeth, because I feel like their love story got lost in the book. You know?
It's like you're just walking in sunshine and then automatically you're in an ice pool.
Yeah.
And I'm just confused, but I'm enjoying it, I guess. And then at the end we come back out into the warm, you know.
Yeah, and I feel like at the end it just kind of sprinkles them in there again. It's not like where in the first book you were just engrossed in the relationship. And this is how you were kind of in Elm and Ione's relationship. But their relationship, their chemistry was off the charts.
Oh, yeah.
Like, those two surprised me. I know Elm doesn't want to talk, but let me tell you, he backs it up.
And
okay?
Gaptooth Ione be throwing it right back at him.
I think she was the one that surprised me the most, because I thought she was just, it's some quiet ones, man. It's
know.
the quiet ones.
Ione just came out there and just told him the truth. Like, her little gap tooth just came out there swinging with some truth. Some scandalous, sexy truth.
When Elsbeth was taken over by the Shepherd King, we find out that Ione's daddy was real shady, because he was the one that actually told Prince Hoth that she was infected. And Raven and the squad earlier in the story went to go warn Ione's family to run away because the guard was going to come after them. Mm-hmm. But when Elm and the guard go over there, because they're supposed to be like, oh, I'm going to go get the Hawthorne family or whatever, well, he finds Ione there.
Yeah.
Which is wild. So Elm takes her back to Stone with him, with a few other guards. So since the other guards were there, he couldn't just let her go. He actually had to play the part of the prince and be in the guard and all this other stuff. Well, as they're returning to the store, we hear Elm's thoughts of Ione, and he basically talks about how he was always stealing glances at her, like he was checking out Homegirl all the time. He loved her curves and her smile, and how she was just always her authentic self. At this point, Ione is still under the control of the maiden card as well. On the road, they're stopped by highwaymen as they're trying to head back to Stone, and they're trying to steal Elm's providence card, which is a scythe.
Yeah,
scythe. The scythe. The scythe. Well, during this, as Elm is trying to get off the horse, Ione steals his scythe out of his pocket. And, God, scythe! See, you messed me up! You messed me up! I said it right, and then now you made me go back.
His scythe. His scythe. Scythe.
Basically, she steals his scythe out of his pocket. Isn't that right?
Buttery crispy flakes.
Yeah, buttery crispy flakes out of his pocket. And Homegirl is just bold here, because basically the highwaymen are about to shoot an arrow at her, and she's like, okay, whatever. But she uses the card against them, and they're able to get away. But before they get back to Stone, Ione uses a card against Elm, and she makes him promise that when they go back to the king, that she is allowed to roam the castle, and that the king will not lock her up, and Elm agrees to help her.
And I thought that this is the beginning of what happened. Like, she saves him, all this kind of stuff is happening, and
now he feels like he owes her.
Yeah, but he's just like, oh, she's bold too, and I like that in the lady. Unless it's Elsbeth, I hate her. But everybody else is like, okay, cool, you're surprising me.
Well, then, and we also find out in that scene too, where he's thought about her before. He's stolen glances.
He's just been just looking around.
Or he's like this. He's like.
I mean, honestly, if someone else had a London look, I'd be looking too, though. So I'd be like, ooh, I bet she could fit 4 quarters in between her teeth. So, I hate that I related to Ione in this story because of that.
Just because of the gap,
the London look. We both have it. I mean, mine's a lot better than it was, but I just picture Ione looking like this. Like,
yeah, because they made her gap seem very pronounced.
Yeah,
like they were like her teeth are just this far apart.
They are canines now. That's how I read it.
They made it sound like she was just some hillbilly that didn't have no teeth.
Yeah, like she could just stick her sandwich through her mouth without even opening it.
Especially when Elm talks about later in the story, the first time he saw her riding the horse without any shoes.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, dang. They just basically described her as just this hillbilly, no shoes, just got gap teeth, just running around
Just
happy as hell.
Living her whole best life. Yee. But anyways, Elm and Ione, they go back to Stone, and they're helping each other change clothes at this point, and they are teasing each other. They're
like, round.
Yeah, they're getting hot and jalapeno-y, if you know what I mean. But in walks Raven, you know, because Raven's been off. Boo, Elspeth, I'm taking her to the king, man. So anyways, he's mad at Raven. Like, bump you, Elspeth sucks, you suck for listening to her. I don't care if you loved her, but I love Ione and I'm gonna lie for her to daddy.
Ain't gonna tap that.
I mean, he didn't really say I love her, but he might as well have.
He gonna tap that.
Yeah. So Raven ends up warning Elm not to let Ione's beauty sway him and that she doesn't deserve his kindness. And I'm like, oh, so we're going back and forth here. It's Elm v. Raven.
Yes.
Like, oh, you didn't like Elspeth? Well, I don't like Ione.
Exactly.
Like, ooh, but Elm pops back with, because you never have been turned by a beautiful woman, have you, Captain?
It's like, sir, do you need some ice for that burn? Because let me tell you, Elm popped back.
Yeah, go lay down, Raven.
I know.
Sit, boy, sit. Sit.
But we come back to the king using the chalice card, which from the first book we know that it causes liquids to basically be like truth serum on Tyron, which is Ione's dad, Ione, and Eric, which is Elsbeth's dad.
What?
Oh, I thought you were laughing at how I would pronounce something.
I mean, you made him very gangster.
Ooh,
Tyron.
Tyron. What is his name?
I would have said Tyrion, but
Tyrion?
that's what I would have said. Tyrion. But it could be Tyrion.
I don't know, Tyron.
Tyron. Tyron, get your butt back in the house.
I mean, honestly, that's where he needed to be. He needed to be locked in the house for just acting a fool.
Tyron in timeout. Tyron in trouble.
But things get wild into the scene, and Elm tries to help Ione by using the scythe on Tyron. And Tyron blames the king that he allowed Hoth to be engaged to the family that was infected. And everyone finds out that Tyron is actually the one that gave up Elsbeth because he lured in the room with Hoth saying that her aunt was waiting for her, which honestly Elspeth should have known better. Actually, I'm mad at the nightmare too, because the nightmare didn't warn her. Like, the nightmare didn't feel any like, oh, this is get a little tingly spidey sense, like this is bad.
Well, you know, I feel like Taxus, he did his best job to let Elsbeth be her authentic self without him interfering.
I'm still mad.
Yeah, but at the same time, you never know. It could have been selfishly motivated. He was like, she's close to deteriorating. My turn.
I mean, that is true. Because it's just like, I understand that that's nice.
Hold the phone, let me drive.
Yes, like that's nice. He was trying to let her do her own thing. But that's the moment he decides to let her. But after this moment, chaos breaks loose. Eric is choking Tyron. Ione accidentally cuts her hand, and Elm is just not okay because this woman's hurt. So he uses his scythe card to command the room to stop. They stop, but the chapter ends with Elm getting a nosebleed. So I was like, so he's been using it for too long.
Yeah, he's been using that scythe card. That's scathe.
Because he's been getting scabies and everything. Once Elm is able to get Ione, he notices that her hand is healed, and it confuses him because he knows what he saw. And we find out the maiden card heals, which is like major news.
Yeah, I liked this part because I was like, ooh, some mystery to the cards that nobody has discovered in their entire existence. How?
Especially it's big because since Hoth is in his coma too.
Yeah, and I do love in the book it basically tells us like, yeah, all the women have kind of held that information and kept it to themselves. So they have known that if you use the main card it does heal, but they're like, we ain't telling the boys that.
Yeah, because they dumb.
Yeah, and they gonna be looking fine and we ain't gonna mess ourselves up like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like we want the maiden card.
Yeah, we supposed to be looking fine and they stay dumb. They ain't about to be dumb, fine, and everything else. That's just messed up. This is messed up while I'm over here looking with my London look. Jacked. But the king has a plan in all of this. You know, they're all fighting, whatever. The king's like, well, I've got a grand idea.
I know, Eric's like,
yeah, he's like, let them die. Let them all die. Treachery, treason. But the king is just like, you know what? I'm going to send you Raven, the Nightmare, Jesper, and I want y'all to find the Twin Altar cards. And everybody's like, Okay, well, everybody's been looking for them dang things. Okay, well, I guess we just
Easy
know.
enough.
Yeah, but Elm is kind of sad in this point because this is where he has to shift away from his group of misfits because Hoth is no longer in the picture. I mean, he's still in the picture, but he's a little dumb right now and beat up. So they don't think he's going to come back and take the crown. So they're like, okay, Elm, you're the future leader now of Blunder. And then...
Blunder Thunder.
Yeah. How did she come up with that name?
I don't know.
I'm going to name this town Blunder.
For every time I think about it, it makes me think of Tropic Thunder. I don't know why.
Tropic Thunder Blunder. But Elm's blackmailed to stay, and Daddy's basically like, hey, if you don't stay behind, Raven's gonna lose his captain title, and he's just gonna, we'll probably kill him too. Who cares? Whatever. He's infected, and I know that. So basically blackmailing Elm to stay. The king also tells Elm that he must choose a wife, which I was like, random, okay. But he has 6 dinners to figure it out, but Elm's got a plan.
He got his boo already.
He has got a plan. I don't know who I like more, Elm or Raven. I'm torn between both of them.
I like them for different reasons.
Yeah.
I like how saucy and spicy Elm is, but then I also just like Raven's just like broodiness. And I love just how they talk about in the first book where he never smiled or anything, but Elsbeth could say something and then, we would see the flush come up his cheeks and just his little half smile. I don't know why, I just find that attractive that there was a woman to make him blush and do his little smirk and stuff.
Yeah, despite all of his Grinch heart.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe Raven was using the maiden card.
I don't know, maybe. I don't know. Both of them sound fine, though.
I know. So, somebody using
honestly, I wouldn't be mad about either one.
I wonder if you're using the maiden card when you do the business. Does your baby come out looking beautiful?
I don't know.
Or do they still coming out looking crazy?
What? How do you make a peen more beautiful? Does it glitter in the sun like Edward from Vampire Diaries?
Is it just clean?
Like, yeah, I mean, like all I can imagine is just like when he pulls his pants down, it just like there's a little like bing, like a little sparkle.
Little just. Gosh. Yeah, what is it?
That's what I'm saying. Like, because I know with boobies, like, you just perk them up, perk them up,
pull them
up, fill them out, you know.
Boof there. Yeah,
yeah.
What are you doing?
But even down below for us, like, does that bing too? There's a little ping, a little shininess.
And what does the huevos do?
Exactly.
Do they plump up?
Do they like not look like avocados?
They
like,
smack
are they
a little
smooth?
different? Like, I mean,
I don't. That's what I'm saying. Like, they smack a little different. Would they sing a melody? Like, instead of just like... I know, but what I'm saying is what they do. Sing a melody? Like, how do you make a smack different?
I don't know when you're hitting it. Like, does it just hit different? That's what I meant, the smack. It's a smack.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the sound. Like, when you be hitting the side of the leg.
I mean, does it come up around and do some foreplay? Like, what kind of maiden card... What does the magic maiden thingy look like? Or do the men turn straight into women? Because this could get crazy.
Oh, man, that would be crazy.
Like, what if Raven just grabbed it and was like, boom! Like...
I think Raven would be concerned if he was a woman. I think Elm would like it. I do. I think he would like if he just, turned on tapped the maiden card and he had boobies.
He'd probably be in the mirror like...
Yeah, like he would just be like, I gotta go, guys.
You got some business to take care of. By royal decree.
Oh, man.
Why did this happen?
I don't know. That's just where my mind went. Speaking of minds, this next chapter, we start getting these little micro chapters of Elsbeth stuck in the nightmare's mind. Because at this point, we haven't gotten anything from Elsbeth. She's been kind of like trapped in his deep subconscious. So the nightmare's just been up and center this whole time.
Because it's almost like she's been drowning the whole time.
Exactly, yeah. So we get snippets of Elsbeth inside the mind of the nightmare, and she like is slowly starting to regain her memories. But she also keeps getting visited by the Shepherd's King's children. And we also know that when he was alive, he was always like super busy, always focused on the cards, and he was just more prioritized on gaining the power over spending the time with his children. But I think that also stemmed from the mist as well, you know? Like, I know that the mist comes a little bit later, but I know that he was also trying to stop it.
Yeah, I think originally he just wanted to be a better ruler for his kingdom, and then the mist happened, but he pushed it too far. It's because his best buddy, when he thought he was being trifling, he's like, well, let's get some more magic.
Yeah.
I want to read his mind. And then it's like, boom, here's the mist. Boom, here's the mist. And he's like, well, now I got to fix this problem. Great. So selfishness is what got him in this hole.
Yep.
He could have just kept going to the woods and be like, hey, little wood lady, just bless me. Here's a chicken for your table. Like, you know? But now he's like, hey, give me some cards. I want some magic too. I think she's just smart and knew that this was how everything was going to play out.
Oh, for sure. I feel like she's just a trifling hoe.
Yeah, she's like, you want some
especially
magic?
like after like later in the story when her and Raven meet, like, she's just trifling. So we flip it on back to Elm and Ione, and let me tell you, they be backing that ass up and they be flipping it, reverse it, because this is when they start getting real spicy and intimate.
Smack.
Like, yeah, melody, okay? No smacks here.
Harmony.
Ione admits that she wanted free roam of the castle because she hasn't been able to find the maiden card. She doesn't remember where she placed it, which I think is a big deal too, since I didn't always get the feeling that she wanted to be under the control of the maiden card. I kind of got she wanted it a little bit, but I don't think she wanted it to the extent where she was stuck in.
Yeah, in my mind, in the first book, I thought she did it in spite of Elsbeth.
Yes.
Because Elsbeth's like, hey, be careful. And she's like, I'm gonna wear it anyways.
Yeah, like she was definitely pretty mean to Elsbeth in the first book, but I still didn't think that she wanted it as much as she was stuck in that.
Yeah, and I think it's hard too because, I mean, if you're in a position where you're like Ione, you know, yee through the woods on a horse.
Hillbilly bucktooth.
Yeah, bucktooth. And then your dad's like, hey, you're going to marry the prince and you're going to be queen. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a lot to take in and process, regardless of if she wanted it or not. And then you're just like, okay, well, now my cousin is coming up to me saying, hey, be careful. Hey, don't do this. Hey, don't do that. It's just like, hey, I'm trying to figure this out right now, so I don't have time for this. Shut up and let me do it, you know? So I feel like maybe that's where a lot of the tension came from. Because I know if my sister was up my button around the corner, I'd be like, girl, go. I'm a queen. Get out of my face. You know, I'm trying to figure this out right now. Go put on my clothes. I don't know.
Like, I am your high lady, okay?
Yeah.
Like,
bring me a chicken. Just shut up right now. I'm trying to figure it out. You know, because that was a lot quick, because I don't think she was expecting any of that to happen. So for her not to be able to process anything at a normal speed, now I got to figure out my whole life. What am I going to do? Am I going to bring dishonor to my family? Dishonor to my cows?
Yes.
Like, what am I doing?
Definitely to the cows.
Yeah. So I think that's where her anger stemmed from.
Mm-hmm. Well, we also find out, too, that Ione just doesn't believe that Elm thought that she was this hot patati that he thought that she was. So they decide to make a deal. If Elm loses, then Ione gets 1 minute with the safe. God dang it. What is it? Scythe. I just don't know why I can't remember this word.
The Y makes the I sound.
I don't like it.
Scythe.
If Elm loses, then Ione gets 1 minute with the scythe. If Elm proves that he did notice her, then he gets 1 kiss from her. To make it fair, this has to be under the control of the chalice guard, though. And this is to help her also remember her memories from the night where she last saw the card, and to be sure that Elm is telling the truth about noticing her.
I do like this bet. It's just...
It's very cute.
Yeah,
it's cute.
It's cute. It's not, oh, you have to do this because I'm not the High Lord, but I am going to be the... It's just like, hey, I genuinely want to help you remember, but also you can kiss me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let me get them lips.
Yep.
So I thought this scene was super cute. But during all this, Ione remembers the night of the equinox, and Hoth ended up getting her drunk and made her hide the maiden card. Ione states that Hoth always belittled her for always wearing her heart on her sleeve, and that to be married to him, that she always had to be heartless. So he basically took her choice away, which this just pissed me off so much. I already hated Hoth, so this just made it worse for me.
Yeah, because it was him and his friends got her drunk, and then they're just out in the garden, like, ha ha ha, just kind of pushing her down, treating her however, and they hide her card. Like, that's jacked.
Yeah, which this actually shed some light for me on Ione as well, because in the first book, I just didn't know how I felt about her.
Yeah.
You know, I was just very confused about her character after she took over the maiden card.
Yeah, you're supposed to be best friends with your cousin even after a little spitty spat. And
Yeah.
the way you just started acting was suspect for me.
No.
So I wasn't a fan of her in the first book, but this book was her redemption for me.
I agree. But Elm admits to Ione that Hoth also abused him and basically used the scythe against him as well. Elm was given his scythe card once his mother died, and he made a promise to himself that no matter what, that he was always going to be better at using it than Hoth was, just because of how bad he was to him. And he ended up basically being a better wielder than him.
Yeah, which was good. Good,
Yes.
good for Elm.
Go Elm.
Yeah.
Team 1.
Woohoo!
We also know that there are 4 scythe cards made by the Spirit of the Wood, and the Rowans make everyone believe that they have all 4, but they only have 3.
Which is like crazy.
I know. Rachel, let me tell you, the way that she wrote these 2 books, it just answered every single question. Every single question, every little thing that you would think about, it was answered at some point.
Yeah, no loose ends.
Yes, no, which I love that. But Elm notices that Oni is always staring at him and asks what she was searching for. And Ione admits that basically she's just trying to find similarities between him and Hoth, like his cruelty, his violence, but she doesn't see it with Elm. Which, again, I thought that was super sweet, too.
Yeah.
Technically, since Ione is under control, she should not be able to feel things, which Elm trying to push that button. Okay,
Yeah.
he being a sly dog here. Elm mentions to her that he has seen her feel things. For example, when she's always blushing, basically, when they're with each other. He asks what she feels. Ione tries to lie. You know, which I would have tried to lie too, honestly. I would not want to say what she said. But eventually she says desire.
I would have just said it. I'd be like, well, hot diggity dog, you want to kiss me? Might as well talk about it. Like,
I know. You're a lot bolder than I am then.
Yeah.
Like, I'd have been like I'd have been like
bleeding everywhere,
Yeah.
like just throwing up. Like, no, I think, man, in that situation, it's like you already know you're under the chalice card. Might as well tell the truth.
I couldn't do it.
But Elm is just annoying.
He is. He's a dirty boy here. He's a sly dog.
He's like, tell me you like me.
Yeah, basically. Because at this point, he's very intrigued to hear about her desire and asks what kind of desire and spare no detail. Ione is reluctant to answer, which, same girl, but states that she feels the aches in her body. And she talks about it's in between her legs. My body feels the same and I can feel physical attraction, but my heart remains locked. Which also made me kind of sad, too.
Yeah.
Especially just knowing how Hoth talks about how she always wore her heart on her sleeve for her to feel that way.
Yeah, but boy, I couldn't imagine just walking around just feeling spicy.
I know!
It's like, dang, I'm beautiful and spicy. This needs to chill out.
I know, especially if that's all you feel.
Yeah, just
That's literally it.
just walking around castle being like,
Boing boing.
like, who wants to take a ride on the maiden card? You know what I'm saying?
Oh my
Who wants to test my waters?
I know. Who got a chair for me?
Yeah, I can sit.
On your face.
The blood rising up my neck.
Okay, Raven.
Wow, it's hot. It's hot. Where's the fan?
Well, Elm is starting to feel some things too, because he says to himself, wherever that unquiet ache was, he wanted to find it, touch it, and put his mouth on it. So, he trying to get Ione to sit on his face too.
Doesn't. Somebody's sitting somewhere. That's all I know.
Elm asks, do you feel it now? Homie is bold. Dog, like, aren't we supposed to be finding this maiden card? God. I was screaming at this point, but they keep their eyes locked with him already knowing the answer without her answering.
I just couldn't stare him down and just be like,
No. Be like, I know you want me, but dang.
because I just picture her having this sophisticated look on her face the
Yes,
whole time. Like,
I don't know why, but like I just feel like as she walks, her hands are like, you know, like
very
she's
Lord Voldemort.
Yes, and you know how the vampires walk on Twilight? Those 2 vampires that come on the baseball field.
Oh, yeah.
You know how the wind's always blowing when they're walking, and I feel like her hair is just always blowing in the wind.
Yeah, like the Visteria. Is that what they were
Yeah,
called?
yeah,
Something
yeah.
like that. I don't know.
But that's how I always feel like her walking around. But during this, they had started an hourglass, and the hourglass empties, and Elm reminds Ione of their wager. So she uses the scythe on him and tells him to make his case on how he knew her prior to the equinox. And let me tell you, this boy left no crumbs.
Yeah,
like,
this part was
literally no crumbs. So I'm just going to read what he told her because beautiful.
Yep.
says, what memory should I pull? How about when you were a girl and rode your father's horse in the forest road without shoes, yellow hair in the wind, mud caked up to your ankles? Or perhaps a more recent time, equinox 2 years ago. No one asked you to dance, so you simply danced alone rather well, I might add. The smile lines I was fond of. Your eyelashes were blonder. You had freckles and red patches of skin. A gap between your front teeth. I don't know why I thought this so funny. Your eyes were the only thing the maiden card hasn't altered too much or not. Before the equinox, they were happy. You were the strangest girl I had ever seen, because no one at Stone is happy. They pretend at it or drink, but not you. You were painfully real. I wouldn't even know what to say. Like, homie just mic dropped because
I know.
She didn't say anything. She just tapped the chalice card to deactivate it. That's it.
Yeah, and it's crazy because Elm in the first book seemed like this ding dong bing bong prince. Mm-hmm. He's just the younger, annoying little brother, essentially. I mean, he's not, but like,
which I think he makes himself be that person. Yeah. You know, I think he puts his mask on, like Raven got all his 20,000 masks. I think he puts his mask on to protect himself, and him playing that ding dong is how he protects himself.
This is where I really started to get back into the book, because I was turned off up until this point.
Yes, yeah, I agree. But Ione gets mad, tells him to go to hell. Elm laughs and says, you have a wonderful mouth, and now it's mine. I don't know why, but I can imagine Elm's laugh in this deep, like, full-bellied laugh, you know? Yeah. I don't know, I just see him having this deep, rumbly voice.
Because he's like, hey, I'm one.
Yeah. But Elm is trying to get down and dirty and says, use me, toy with me, feel something, Ione. And then, bam, they get in, like, the most passionate kisses of kisses. Like, they were just, like, all over each other. They were. Maybe not like that, you know, maybe a little bit more graceful, but graceful ain't me. But Elm is in the moment, decides he wants things to last with Ione. And this is a big moment for Elm, because I think he had never really admitted to wanting something of his own. Yeah. It was always just what his brother wanted, since his brother was the heir and all this. So I think that him admitting this is a very big turning point for him and his character.
Yeah, because he put everybody else before himself.
Yeah. And Ione at this point, she's talking about how she wants a rough, and I didn't know Girly was going to pop off like that. I was like, okay, go ahead, sis.
Get it, girl.
Yeah, no. Elm knows what she wants and tells her to beg. And the moment gets ruined because of Philip. Is that how you say his name? Philip and his dogs just come in, and literally the dogs are licking Elm while they're just trying to get down and dirty.
I was so mad at this part, because what were they in this room filled with hay or whatever?
I think so. They were just rolling around like a barn.
Yeah, they're like just in there being wild animals, and then here comes these little dogs like, oh, Elm, I missed you.
No, could you imagine them trying to get down and dirty, and then these dogs just come out of nowhere and just start licking?
And Phyllis like, oh, that ain't your fiance. But that's not my business.
I know. And what's funny is that Philip didn't even try to run. He wasn't like, open the door, was like, oh, my bad. He just barges on in with him and his dog. And he's like, oh, hey, guys. Sorry.
What you doing? You want to hang out?
But Ione decides to run away. But also in this moment, too, I don't remember Elsbeth and Raven's scene being like this hot and dirty.
No, but I don't think Raven... I mean, obviously, Raven is not like Elm. Like,
yeah, Elm is feral.
Yeah, Elm is just
Elm and Ione are both feral.
He's just a crazy water buffalo. You know what I'm saying? And then Raven's over here being a little toucan. They're just two different things.
No, for sure.
Ooh, Elm is just wild.
He is.
Yeah, wild and free. But that's what I'm saying. I don't know which one I like more. Like, Raven is a sweetie panini.
I know. But I feel like... but so is Elm, you know? And I feel like Elm loves so passionately as well, too. Which Raven does, too. I don't know.
It's just different because, I don't know, I feel like Raven's too soft to be the person of the Destriers, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, he's hard to everybody else except for Elsbeth, but I mean, I would have liked him to be like a little bit more with her instead of just being like, I like your eyeballs.
Like, I feel like Raven would definitely, you know, he would want like vanilla sex. Like, he would want to be looking at you in the eyes. Yeah. And then Elm probably choke you.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Elm make your eyes roll back. You know? And I was like, oh, you still looking at me? Squeeze harder.
God, dog.
They're just two different people.
They are.
But Elma's more sweetie panini out in the streets, but
he is
crazy.
Yeah. Dude, once that door closes, let me tell you, gone.
Yeah, once he's in the hay, he's in the hay. But anyways, we go back now, Whiplash 2.
I'm like...
Woo! Yeah, we're just, you know, just a little whip. We whip on back to Raven and his crew hunting down the Twin Altars card. So we have Raven, the Nightmare, Jesper, which I was like, okay, this is a good lineup so far. Then you have Gorse.
No, I said his name.
How do you say his name?
Gross.
Is that really his name?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure it was actually Gorse and not Gross. You have Gorse. Because he's gross.
He is gross.
But
That's probably why I called him gross.
The king was like, oh yeah, Gorse is going to come keep an eye on y'all because I don't trust y'all bandits. Y'all crazy. And then you have Wick and Peter, which they're two little, I think they're twins. Are they twins?
I don't know if they're twins. I just know they're brothers.
I don't know why I thought they were twins.
They might be.
Wick and Peter Wick, who knows? Okay, but they brothers and they love Raven and they loyal.
Brothers.
They brothers and they loyal. Man, you gotta be a brother with your name spelled like that. Ain't nobody spelled Peter, P-E-T-Y-E-R. Yeah, Tyrion.
Tyrion and Peter.
Anyways, I just feel like fantasy novels, they just be like,
they do got weird
They
names.
just type something, add a Y, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
Or
like
at
Wild
the end
and
of it.
Ratchet.
Yeah, seriously, like Wild and Ratchet. Just literally add an or at the end, or just CHTs, just some weird stuff in there.
That's when my brain hurts. That's what I'm like. I be looking at things and I'm like, ooh. I'm like short circuiting. I'm like,
we just gonna call you Matthew. Hey, you gonna be Brittany.
Amen.
If we're getting crazy, it's gonna be Abigail. Just give him
Or
some
Dorcas.
Not Dorcas. That's not it's my name. But anyways, but they're at the edge of the woods. They're looking for the Twin Alders card, and then the Shepherd King just goes crazy. He's like, "Oh God, phenomenal cosmic power!" And he just uses his sword, taps on trees, and then the force is like, and everybody's sitting there like, the Shepherd King. Well, I mean, Elsbeth really, but the Shepherd King inside Elsbeth, like, she's just probably sitting like this, and he's like, ding, 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 and then the whole forest just going nuts, rearranging, and everybody's like, wow, this. I guess we're just here.
I don't know. I guess it's cool.
This is a development.
This is the right way, I guess.
Yeah, but I'm just like, why he couldn't do that in the cell? He couldn't have just made the cell door go,
I don't know.
or the tree come and fall.
The Nightmare would just be doing his own thing.
He's bold. He is the boldest person in this book. But Raven notices that the Nightmare freezes, so he's just like, I'm gonna go in your mind, because Raven just wants to be in Elsbeth's mind 24/7. And then Raven overhears the Nightmare say, where are you, Elsbeth, and why won't you answer me? And Raven's like, my baby!
I was panicking too, though.
Yes.
Like, I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean, where is she?
Yeah. But then it comes to the point where they find out that they have to make 3 barters to reach the Spirit of the Wood, which is where they're trying to go to find a Twin Alder card.
I feel like that part of Raven, like, freaking out was so underplayed.
Yeah.
Because just knowing the character that he is and, like, how much he loves Elsbeth, like, it was like, okay, we're going to go do 3 barters.
Yeah.
Like, it was just so underplayed.
Like, I thought he would have choke slammed
Yeah.
Elsbeth or something.
Yes.
Because, like, after a while.
Or at least gross. Like,
Yeah.
just choke somebody out. I don't know.
Gorse. Just Gorse like, I didn't do anything.
Like, somebody needs to be choked out, dog.
But I did like this part of this book. I did like the barter process to get to the Spirit of the Wood. And I'm curious
It was
if,
very
like,
creative.
yeah, I'm curious if everybody had to do this. Did the Shepherd King have to do this every time he went to go see her? Did he have to make the 3 barters to see her every time?
I don't know, honestly.
Yeah,
I don't remember if that was answered.
Yeah, I can't remember either.
I don't know if it was just for the time that he tried to go get the Twin
Alder card,
Yeah.
or if it's like,
every single time.
did he go up to the trees and be like, "Hey, take this to the Spirit of the Wood, tell her
Yeah.
on the card"? Like, what did I mean?
Like,
you
he
know?
just sent her like a pigeon. He like, off be you.
Yeah, just fly, tree, fly. I don't know. I really don't
Or
know.
like the Shepherd King and the trees play telephone. They're like, hey,
and the tree comes back. He said some bullcrap about your feet
you a
stink.
bitch. Like,
He said, "You ugly, give him a maiden card." And the tree comes back. Maiden card. Oh yeah, there's gonna be some miss because you called her ugly. He's like, what?
Exactly.
Worst game of telephone
This is
ever.
probably why he had to give up so many things, because the trees were lying to the Spirit of the Woods.
They were telling the Spirit the wrong thing. He said he wanted a nighttime card, and he got a nightmare card. He just wanted to go to sleep.
He's like, yeah, I want some melatonin,
Yeah.
so that can knock me out.
And she's like, Triple, that's what you said. What you mean?
What are you talking about?
Leave me alone.
To the trees. Well, the group shows up to the first barter. And basically they have to drop some blood into the lake and swim across. And the magic will determine basically if they're worthy enough to cross the lake. And if they do, the woods will provide them a safe passage to the next barter. And Raven is still basically worried about Elsbeth. He tells the Shepherd King not to cut too deep so he doesn't scar Elsbeth's hand, which... Raven, just let it happen. Let her live at this point. I understand he was sad, but he was just being a little too much for me.
See, if I was a Shepherd King, I would be all contortionist 24/7. Like, I'd be sitting there with my neck under my head. And I'd be like, what you mean don't cut my hand?
And doing like the robot, but my arms like face the other way.
Yeah, I would be tormenting the heck out of Raven just because he would be getting on my nerves. Like, I'm on a mission to try to help you.
Yeah. But I did get nervous at this point because I really did think we were just never going to see Elsbeth again.
Yeah.
But while the crew is attempting to swim across the lake, the demon grabs Peter, and Raven swims down to save him. It's basically like, oh, my friend, let me come get you. And they were able to make it to the shore, but a demon has clawed Peter's leg. And they describe it as, like, sludging, which I was, like, it just, like, really grossed me out.
Because I could see this, though. Like, the way she wrote it.
For sure.
I thought these demons were like mermaids. Like, you know, the demented mermaids is what I pictured them as.
That's how I pictured them, too. But I also didn't think that, you know, his leg was just going to sludge off, like, but I did, like, but
saw it.
Yes, I did see it in my head, and I think that's why I was so grossed out.
Yeah, Creature of the Black Lagoon came and got it.
The Shepherd King basically says that, oh yeah, by the way, I didn't tell y'all this, but the water's poisoned. Like, and this is why the nightmare it makes me mad sometimes. He doesn't say everything the group needs to know. But the group decides to try and use the maiden card to try and heal Peter. And as Raven's pulling out the card, he drops the mirror card and the nightmare card. Well, Gross attempts to dive for the card and is causing him and Raven to fight. Raven taps the nightmare card and accidentally, but to his surprise, he was able to hear Elsbeth's voice. The Shepherd King, of course, pushes Raven out of his mind, warning him to give Elsbeth time to adjust. Now, while the squad has made it to the shore, the nightmare went within himself searching for Elsbeth.
Which this part was so wild to me. Okay, so now we know Elsbeth is there, for real. Mm-hmm. And Raven and Gorse are just fighting over some cards. There's just too much going on. I would have killed Gorse.
That's what I'm saying. It was just like, okay, we're fighting, and then the nightmare's just like, hey, Elsbeth, you there? Because I just imagine Elsbeth's body just standing there, and then the nightmare's just like, hey, Elsbeth, you there?
Yeah, just like...
I'm like, yeah.
Just literally deadpan.
And then Raven and Gorse are just back there like, pa-pa-pa!
And he's just sitting there dripping. Just looking crazy.
Peter's legs sludging. Like, Jessica's probably yelling. Like,
God, everybody's just going on. Shepherd King's just in the woods. Elsbeth, there you are.
But basically she was trapped in the nightmare's subconscious all this time. The nightmare tells her that he can pull her to the front of his mind, kind of how he lived, but she wouldn't be able to be in control of the body. All she would be able to do is like see what he sees.
Which is kind of cool though, because it says that he would be able to pull her to the front. So that means Elsbeth this whole time was pulling him to the front and did not know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She's like, oh, I hate this thing, but where you at?
I know, hey friend.
Hey, what you doing in there? Like, you know, like, what are you doing now? I was like, meow. Yeah, because I just thought that was interesting. He's like, yeah, I can pull you to the front of my mind like you did me. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wait, she did that to you?
Yeah.
Because when she would talk about it, she was just like,
that he was just like stuck in my brain.
Yeah,
like, she couldn't do anything about it.
She was the one not drowning him.
But I mean, she was always the one calling on him.
Yeah.
You know? And then also talks about how I think the nightmare used to tell her a story when she was like younger too. But as Elsbeth hears Raven's voice, that's when she agrees. Mm-hmm. So Raven is eager to speak to Elsbeth. The nightmare responds that Elsbeth calls him stupid. Basically just popping off. Poor Raven's just getting crapped on because he's like, oh, my boo's back. But yeah, the nightmare's like, yeah, she thinks you're stupid. Yeah. And so Elsbeth scolds him and makes him allow Raven into the mine so that she can speak with him. Basically, they were only able to speak for a minute, and then shortly after, arrows are flying through the sky, gas is releasing, passing out, and the last scene ends with... Yes, just... Yeah. There's like this, and arrows are like, pew, 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 pew! And then the last scene is Wick having an arrow through his skull, which that made me so sad.
I was just like, oh, not the brothers. So Peter goes down. Peter ends up turning out okay.
Yeah. But Elsbeth still is.
Yeah, but you can't fix an arrow through the head.
Yeah, like, no. You can't fix maiden card ain't gonna do that.
Wick.
Wick, bye.
Lickety split, you know what I'm saying? Not even split, lickety split. Wick got flicked by an arrow. But anyways, we find out more about Elm and who he is, and obviously he knows he has to be the next king of Blunder, even though he doesn't want to be. But for there to be a fair king, he's like, I gotta do this because I don't want,
For Blunder!
For Blunder. Why did that make me think of How to Train Your Dragon? Like, I don't know.
I was thinking like Braveheart,
Oh, I'm over here like animated kid movie. Anyway, so
Back to the book.
Yeah. Elm wants to be fair king, so he knows he's gonna have to step into that role, but he also decides not to give Hoth the maiden card, which I was just like, good.
I know, I was like, okay.
He said, I ain't healing this piece of crap.
I was really expecting you not to do it, and I would be pissed if you did.
Yeah, but so he makes that decision, and he also decides to steal the marriage contract of Hoth and Ione, which I was like, get it, boy.
No, he get his boo.
Yep, he gives the contract to Fenrir, Raven's dad, so he may keep it safe. But Elm tells his father that he will agree to be the next king, but only if he could be the one to choose his wife.
Sneaky.
Elm was plotting this whole time.
Elm's character grew so much. Like, he really got so much character growth in this book.
Yeah, and he's like, dear old dad, you're dumb. I'm going to figure this out. And then he tells his dad, don't worry, it's someone you've already approved. And I was like,
pop back.
Get it, because he ain't lying.
Yep, pop back.
And the king is just like, yes, this is a great answer. But meanwhile, Elm is already drawing up the contracts and everything that he needs to get ready. He's getting ready for that.
But I have to agree, because let me tell you something. During this part of the book, this was not Elm. This is Daddy Renelm, okay? The next king of Blunder. Like, homie was just making moves to be with his boo. Like, brother's wife, who? Mr. Steal Your Girl.
Oh,
Hide
my
your wife,
God.
had your kids, because Elm's coming out.
Yep. He's getting Ione. But anyways, we started to find out a little bit more about the Shepherd King's background and the Providence cards. And this is where we find out some good tea.
Chapter went hard. Like, this chapter was so good. Probably my favorite, honestly.
Yeah, so we find out...
Besides the spicy ones.
Yeah, I mean, spicy ones be good. But we find out that Taxus had a captain of the guard named Brutus Rowan. Rowan.
Capital R.
The crown was stolen, my friends. The crown was stolen by the Rowans. But anyways, during this book, you find out the Shepherd King can't stand the Rowans. They suck big ones.
Because he's always like, every time they come in, he's like...
Yeah, literally just hissing and pissed. But they did something shady, so we start to find out more about this. But Brutus, his captain of his guard, also married Taxus' sister. So they family. Mm-hmm. I mean, well, he's kind of like a brother-in-law.
That's his bro.
Yeah, so whatever. You would think that they had this really tight relationship, but in the beginning, it described as they did. They were best friends. But things had to come to an end for them. Mm-hmm. The Shepherd King has a wife named Petra. They had their first son named Bennett. The Shepherd King took Bennett to the woods, so always taking people to the woods.
I know, just leave folks out the woods.
It was like, hey, give him some magic. Like, who just says, oh, take my kid, make him magical?
Yeah.
I didn't understand that part.
I didn't either.
But it was opposite to what the Shepherd King had in mind, so they had to keep it a secret. Which, I'm thinking kind of like you thought it was like the poison sickness looking, the dark veins, the crazy looking thing. But Bennett ends up having great eyes, like his mom.
Which is very big Easter eggs here. When I read that line, I said, oh, you know who else got gray eyes in this book?
Who?
Raven.
Ooh.
Raven's family.
Anyways, the rest of the children had yellow eyes, like the Shepherd King, and they all had no powers, because I'm pretty sure Shepherd King didn't go, hey, bless this one. He's probably like, I ain't doing that to the rest of my kids. I messed up the first time. I ain't about to wreck it the second time. But anyways, except for Tilly, though. Tilly ended up being able to heal people a single time. Boop! There you go. You healed. Yeah, healed. But she could have probably fixed the guy's skull. Just boop. Just put it back together. I don't know.
You alive.
You did it. But every time she healed somebody, she became super weak. But did it talk about her, like, coming back from that, or did she stay weak?
I don't think it necessarily talked about, like, if she was just, like, every time she healed, like, she just got weaker and weaker. I don't know if she just got weak and then she slept it off, or...
Yeah, I don't think it was taking her life force. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
which I would assume is the degeneration.
Yeah.
Like, that is described in the book.
Yeah. But anyways, the Shepherd King asked the Spirit of the Wood for the next card to have the power of healing. Always coming back to the maiden card. Mm-hmm. And for this card to allow the user to be as beautiful and unblemished as a pink rose, which was Tilly's favorite flower, which is really cool. So we find out more history about the maiden card, which it kind of makes me nervous about all these other cards. Like, do they have some secrets we don't know about?
Girl.
Because we didn't talk very much about these other cards in this book. So it just kind of makes me nervous. Like, what's the Chalice got going on?
Well, exactly. Later on, we find out that the Shepherd King's wife passed away, but he uses her body to make the mirror card.
Crazy.
Yeah, so I don't think we find out about all of them. I can't really remember, but I remember the nightmare had to give his soul for that one.
Which is just wild. How you gonna go in there and be like, yeah, let me, my nighttime card. You know?
The melatonin.
Melatonin card.
Melatonin turned into the nightmare. But after the nightmare card was made, that's when the mist came.
Like you said, the nightmare card gave up the soul because he just wanted to go into Brutus's mind.
Yeah.
He's like, I know you're trifling against me. And he
was like, psst, 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 hey, nightmare. Or, hey, trees, will you tell the spirit of the wood?
Yeah, I hate Brutus. Give me a card. But he felt that Brutus was being super distant, which I guess he kind of was, though, because Taxus was going a little rogue for a little bit. He was just dipping out all about the cards and lost a lot of sight in his family and his sister, because apparently him and his sister were super close, too. But after the nightmare card ended up being forged, the mist came. And that is where we are going to end today's podcast.
Yep.
So we are going to break this into 2 parts. So this is part 1 today, and we'll do part 2...
some other time.
Another time. Maybe next time.
Yeah, maybe next time.
Yay! All right, well, thanks for listening to 2 Girls, 1 Shelf. Keep it spicy.
Bye!
Bye!